Hello students and learners, welcome to the new lecture, and in this lecture we are going to do the revision of the chapter 2, that is the respiration, the energy releasing system. Okay, so these all are the important topics of this chapter. So discovery of the gases, breathing, mechanism of respiration in human beings, anaerobic and aerobic respiration, evolution of the gas exchanging system, so photosynthesis versus respiration. These all are the important topics of this chapter. Okay, and each and every topic has subtopics and so on. Okay, so now let us start about our discussion. The food is necessary to carry out the life process. So life process means whether it may be digestion, okay, respiration, excretion, and so on, reproduction, so on. These all are the important life process. So to perform all these life process, so the food is necessary. In the previous topics also, that is nothing but in the chapter 1 we have discussed that the food is necessary to maintain the body temperature. So from where the body temperature is coming from, so let us consider this is a glucose molecule, so combined with oxygen to produce the energy, and this energy, along with this energy, some we know that carbon dioxide plus and water is also produced, but along with this process, so when the energy is produced, upon the utilization of this energy, some amount of temperature is increased. So increase of little bit temperature or release of the temperature will be done. So this temperature is used to maintain the body temperature or body heat. Okay, so now next is the food provides energy after the breakdown through a process of the respiration. So such kind of process is known as cellular respiration. Here we can see that the glucose molecule, it is a food material utilized for the production of the energy. Okay, and here the respiration, the word came from the respire. So in the Latin, the respire means the breathing. Okay, so in the Latin, respire is nothing but the breathing. Okay, which lead to the final utilization of the food material. So here the food material, let us consider this is the rice. You have taken the rice in the lunch or in the morning. So this rice will be broken down, is digested. So rice is going to get digested in the body. So from the rice we know that the glucose molecules will be released. So these glucose molecules will release, or these glucose molecules enter into the cells. So in the cells what will happen? So the glucose molecules plus oxygen lead to the production of this process, or which it will undergo this such kind of process. So by this way we can see that this process is nothing but the utilization of the food material. Hence we can call it as a respiration is the final utilization of the food material. Okay, respiration is a process of inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. So during the respiration process, we are going to take the oxygen oxygen is utilized in the cells, and carbon dioxide is released. Okay, so this released carbon dioxide is exhaled through the nostrils. So this is the main important part. So next, the cells need oxygen and food material for the proper function. So if the cells don't have the oxygen and don't have the food material, the cells are not going to function and the cells may die. So this is one of the reason the cells require oxygen plus they need food material. Okay, the food material like glucose, or not only glucose, they also need other materials for the proper functioning or living condition of the cell. So this is about the small introduction about the chapter. So now we'll move into the main topic. The first topic is the discovery of the gases. So just now we came to know that the oxygen is very important. So the oxygen is very important, and carbon dioxide is not useful for the body. It is a excretory product. Okay, so how these gases are discovered? Discovery means, so finding the something which is present in the nature or which is present in the earth, that is known as discovery. Okay, the scientists did a lot of work, lot of research and lot of hard work to find out all these important aspects. So in the till way back in the 14th century, they came to know about it after the using of the term respire. Okay, so the respiration is a medical term refer to a process of living and also passage of air and production of the body heat. So how the body heat is produced, just now we have discussed, by utilizing the energy, some amount of heat is produced. That heat is used for the maintaining body temperature. What is the body temperature? 37 degrees Celsius is the body temperature. Okay, Next is the Lavoisier and also Priestley. We have studied about these scientists in the first chapter. So, based upon the comprehensive work of the Lavoisier and also Priestley, we came to know the properties of the gases, their importance of the gases, and so on. Not until the 18th century. So it took a lot amount of time. So here the Lavoisier did a comprehensive work and several experiments. So in the one of his experiment, he took the bell jar. Okay, so this is a flat surface. He took the bell jar, and in the bell jar he put some amount of the charcoal powder. So the charcoal powder was put in the bell jar in a container, and he ignited the charcoal powder. So during this process, what it is used, some amount of gas, some gas is utilized. Okay, and some amount of gas is released. So which gas is released after the burning of the charcoal powder? So in those days, the scientists did not know about the carbon dioxide, so they did not give any name. So just they called that gas as a fixed air. So what is the fixed air? The gas which is released after the burning of the charcoal powder. So the charcoal powder, the gas is nothing but the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is also known as fixed air, that is released after the burning of charcoal powder by the Lavoisier. Okay, and next is in the next series of the experiment, he took the same bell jar kept on the flat surface. So before keeping the bell jar, he took one container containing the water, which is filled with water, and above the water again small container and closed with the bell jar. Okay, now he ignited the material which is placed in this container. What is that material? What is the substance? It is a phosphorus. So the phosphorus were ignited. It was ignited from the outside. So upon burning of this process, some amount of gas is released. Again, some amount of gas is released, and Lavoisier, that scientist is confirmed that whatever the gas that is used for the burning of the phosphorus is not water vapor. Okay, so water is kept. So there is a chance of thinking that the water vapor is utilized for the burning of the phosphorus. But Lavoisier is confirmed that the water vapor is not the gas that is used for the burning of the phosphorus. So which gas is used? Which gas is responsible for the burning of the phosphorus? So he called it as elastic fluid. So elastic fluid that is utilized for the burning of the phosphorus and releasing of the gas, that gas is known as fixed air. Okay, so we will discuss about the elastic fluid. In simple terms, this elastic fluid is nothing but oxygen. So what is that elastic fluid? Oxygen. This oxygen is utilized for the burning of the phosphorus inside the bell jar. Okay, so Lavoisier concluded that the substance which combines with the phosphorus is either air itself or elastic fluid present in the certain proportions. So what is that? So what is that elastic fluid? That elastic fluid is nothing but oxygen. They did not know about this gas. Why? Because in those days they did not name that gas. They did not name that elastic fluid. Nowadays we know that that elastic fluid is nothing but oxygen. Okay, so where the oxygen is present in the air, and this oxygen is present in the certain proportions in the air. We know that the air is a mixture of the gases. Okay, and we are using this oxygen for the breathing or respiration. So next is Lavoisier noted that the profound differences between the air after the combustion of the metals and also exhaled air. So during the exhalation, that is the air which is released from the nostrils, what the gas you will see generally carbon dioxide with along with other gases. So in the exhalation, in the exhaled process, you will see the carbon dioxide gas. So not only that, after burning of the metal, okay, burning of the metal, it is also going to give carbon dioxide. It means the both burning of this metal and also burning of, and also after the exhaled air, you will see the carbon dioxide or the gas. So this gas is going to precipitate the lime solution. So the precipitate the lime solution, this gas will not precipitate the lime solution. So it is going to show the milky white. It will not show the milky white. Why? Because along with the carbon dioxide, it contains some amount of metal oxides. so it will not show any precipitation. Okay, so this is only the thing the Levaiser observed during this experiment. Okay, and Levaiser deduced that the two processes involved in the respiration. Okay, so what are the two processes during the process? He said that he explained something that we will discuss in coming topics. Okay, so he carried out another experiment showing that 1 by 6th volume of the ventilated air. Ventilated air is nothing but the air which is the component of the air which is responsible for the burning or the respiration. So ventilated air means the component of the air. Which component? The oxygen. That component of air is nothing but oxygen. This oxygen is responsible for the burning or respiration. So this is the most important thing. And he said that 1 by 6 volume, okay, is utilized. So it consists of the chalky acid air. And next thing is the chalky acid air. That chalky acid air is nothing but the CO2. So CO2 means the carbon dioxide. So if you take the air, so the air contains 1 by 6 volume of the ventilated air, and remaining thing is consisting of the chalky acid air, that is nothing but carbon dioxide. Not only these two, along with these two gases, some other gases also present in the air. So the respirable air in the lungs changed into chalky acid air. It means, so before, while you are taking while you are breathing, so what will happen? The oxygen along with other gases enters into the lungs. Okay, let us consider this. These are the right and left lung. So in the right and left lung, there is a conversion of the gases. This oxygen will get converted into the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide will get released into the environment through the nostrils. Okay, so this is only the said. What they say, the respirable air. The oxygen is the respirable air. So it is utilized in the or absorbed in the lungs, and it is released as a fixed air. That is nothing but carbon dioxide. Okay. So respirable air combines with the blood to produce a red color. So this oxygen that you see here, it is going to combine with RBC. Okay, RBC. So RBC plus oxygen. So this is known as oxygenated blood. So this oxygenated blood will be it will be sent to the cells. Okay, the cells are organs of the body where they are going to use the oxygen. Okay, so during the cellular respiration, this oxygen is utilized, and after this process the carbon dioxide will be sent to the lungs. So in between there is a heart. Okay, in between this process there is a heart. It is going to pump the deoxygenated blood to the lungs. That we will discuss about this topic after a moment in detail. Okay, so here when the blood is going to combine with oxygen, it is going to form oxyhemoglobin. Okay, oxyhemoglobin. Hb means hemoglobin. So these hemoglobin, where the hemoglobin are present, so let us consider this the RBC, or we will draw in a larger diagram. So this is the RBC. So it is a component of the blood. Blood contains different types of the blood cells: RBC, WBC, platelets, and so on. So this RBC contains a protein. That proteins are known as hemoglobin. Let us zoom a small structure of the protein, a hemoglobin protein. So this is the hemoglobin contains proteins, three proteins. Okay, hemoglobin contains three proteins, or you can call it as a heme groups: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 heme groups are present. So these heme groups are the structures of the hemoglobin. This hemoglobin is going to bind with oxygen. So it is going to bind with the oxygen. It means the 4 oxygen molecules are required for the binding with the hemoglobin. So then it is known as oxyhemoglobin. After the binding of oxygen to the hemoglobin, it is known as oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin is present in the RBC. Number of hemoglobins are present in the RBC. They will transport, or they will supply oxygen to the body tissue. Okay, and respirable gas is oxygen, and chalky acid air is the carbon dioxide. These are the terms they have used in the Levaiser time. Okay, so a few lines from the textbooks of human physiology written by the John Duffer, so in the mid 19th century, and goes like this. So what he said, the chief material means the important materials which the living beings received are the matter that can be burnt. So what he said, let us consider the chief materials like glucose, okay, so our proteins or whatever it may be. These materials are the important materials. It can be used by the organism, and also these materials can be burnt. So when these materials are burnt, what they are going to do, they are going to give some amount of energy, okay. So they are can be burnt, water and oxygen and so on. So on out of these actions, these upon another, all physical phenomena on its arise. So these components are going to give rise to other things. So what the body expels out is the water, oxides of carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, and so on. So what is meant by oxides? Let us consider the glucose. When they get oxidized with oxygen, there is a production of the carbon dioxide. So here the glucose contains carbons, okay. So carbons and carbons, so on. So these carbons are oxidized. When these carbons are oxidized, they are going to turn into oxides of the carbon, that is nothing but CO2, okay. So this is about the important statement that is given by the John Daffer. So next is the exhale is warmer than the normal air. Why? Because during the exhalation process, the body has some amount of temperature. This amount of temperature, so some amount of temperature is brought by the gases. So brought by the gases that you are exhaling. So these gases, while you are releasing outside, these gases are going to bring some amount of temperature from the respiratory tract or from the body. So this is one of the reason the exhaled gas has some amount of temperature, okay. So the respiration was known till the mid 19th century, and is a common observation that our breath is warmer than the normal air around us. It means, let us consider the air around you may contain 30 degrees Celsius, but this is in the atmosphere. This is in the atmosphere, and the 37 degrees Celsius air, that is after the exhaled air, or the temperature of the exhaled air around 37 degrees Celsius. This temperature is brought from the body by the exhaled gases or exhaled air, okay. So next the questions. So there are each and every question has the answers. The first question, can it be said the Priestley experiment helped to find out the more about the composition of the air? Yes, with the help of the Priestley experiment, we came to know about the more composition of the air. Composition means the how much percentage of the gases are present in the air and so on, and that became the evidences of the Lavoisier experiment. So what was the produced? What was produced by the combustion according to the Lavoisier? So according to it, he came to know that the fixed air, that is nothing but carbon dioxide, was produced on the combustion of the phosphorus, or whether the combustion of the when the combustion of the charcoal powder and so on. So that is according to the Lavoisier. So what did the Lavoisier find about the air from his experiment? So Lavoisier found that the fixed air was released during the combustion and also respirable air. So whether it may be combustion of the metals, okay, or combustion of the charcoal powder, okay, combustion of charcoal powder or phosphorus, okay, during the cellular respiration. So what is released, that something is released, that release is known as gas, is known as carbon dioxide. It is also known as a fixed air, okay, it is also known as fixed air. Later then other name is also there, or the other term is also there, that is known as chalky acid air. So both fixed air or chalky acid air is same. Both terms are referring to the carbon dioxide, okay. So what conclusions may be drawn from the Lavoisier experiment? So according to the Lavoisier experiment, carbon dioxide and oxygen are the components of the air. Not only these two gases, there are other gases also present, like helium, hydrogen, argon, and so on. These all are the different components of the air. So which gas do you think the Lavoisier is talking about? He is talking about chalky acid air or chalky acid gas, that is nothing but the carbon dioxide. So next is which gas according to him is the respirable air? The oxygen is also known as respirable air. Why? Because this oxygen is utilized in the body for the production of the heat, energy, and so on, okay. So this oxygen is going to combine with glucose molecules to do this process. So what steps in this process respiration does the Lavoisier mean and inferences of this experiment? So Lavoisier mentioned that there are two steps in the respiration, that is inspiration, okay, just now we have discussed about it. So inspiration means inhaling gases or inhaling air that containing the oxygen, and expiration means exhaling the air that containing the carbon dioxide. Okay, during the inhalation, along with oxygen, some other gases will enter into the body, and in those gases or in that air. So what is that? What is meant by air? It is a mixture of the gases like carbon dioxide, oxygen. Okay, so nitrogen, hydrogen, so on. So these are the all are the gases in the inhalation. Okay, inhalation. And in the exhalation, so what you will see exhalation, the same carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, so on. These are different gases. But here the carbon dioxide is very less in amount or less in proportion. Okay, here the carbon dioxide is higher in proportion in the exhaled air. So here the oxygen is in higher proportion in the inhaled air, and in the exhaled air the oxygen is lesser proportion. Okay, so this is about thing about this inhalation, also exhalation. Okay, and events are steps in the respiration. So respiration means the complex biochemical and also physical process that will occur in the body. Okay, here you can see the breathing. Breathing means the movement of the air or taking of the air and also releasing of the air is known as breathing. So where these gases are taken in and taken out, so that is through the lungs. So lungs are the important organs. They are going to do this such kind of function, that is inhaling and also exhaling of the gases. So that process is known as a breathing. So next, the gases exchange at the lungs. So these gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide get exchanged in the lungs. That is nothing but the respiratory organ. And let us consider these are the lungs. And these lungs containing the important structures, they are known as alveoli. They are tiny sac-like structures in the lungs. So if you zoom out, so the lungs will be in the alveoli will be in this way. Okay, this is the alveoli. They are sac-like structures. So the gases will enter into the alveoli. At the same time, the gases will enter outside of the lungs or into the lungs. So these are the important structures that is known as alveoli. Okay. So next is this alveoli is in contact with the blood capillary. Okay, this blood capillary is nothing but a tube, a blood vessel that is going to exchange the gases. Okay, through this. So they are one cell thickness. Here the oxygen is there. So this oxygen will be taken into the blood capillary, and the carbon dioxide is released into the alveoli from the blood capillary. Okay, so the flow of blood will be in this way. Okay, this is the structure. Next, the gas transport by the oxygen, gas transport by blood. So that is nothing but oxygen will be transported by the blood from the blood capillaries of the lungs to the body cells, and again carbon dioxide brought to the lungs. Okay, so this is the alveoli. So from the body parts, the blood which containing carbon dioxide will be brought to the alveoli, that is in the lungs, and in this case the exchanging will be done, and oxygen will be bound to the blood, and it's oxygenated blood. So blood with oxygenated blood will be supplied to the body parts. Okay, so this is a structure will be seen. So in the body parts, so what they are doing, they are going to take the oxygen will be taken, and carbon dioxide will be released. Okay, so here the carbon dioxide plus blood, okay, carbon dioxide plus blood will be again brought to the lungs. In between there is a heart, important organ. Okay, that we will discuss in the third chapter. Okay, this is a process. Okay, so gas is exchanged with the tissue level. When the oxygen is exchanged from blood into the cells, the carbon dioxide from the cells into the blood, and so on. So cellular respiration means utilization of the oxygen to produce the energy, carbon dioxide and water. It is known as a process of the life. Okay, here the oxygen will be utilized in the cells. Okay, so what will happen when the oxygen is utilized? The oxygen will combine with the glucose molecules, so to produce the energy. Okay, so carbon dioxide also will be produced. This carbon dioxide will be eliminated from the lungs. Okay, so this is a flow chart. This is a flow chart explaining about the flow of air or the respiratory process. So first, breathing. So nostrils, through the nostrils the breathing will be taken in, and in the lungs, when the air enters into the lungs, there will be exchanging. So exchanging of the carbon dioxide and oxygen, and transport of the gases by the blood. Okay, blood is going to transport oxygen to the tissues. Okay, So again, in the tissues, the oxygen is absorbed. Okay, oxygen will get absorbed and carbon dioxide will be released. Okay, so this released carbon dioxide again brought to the lungs with the help of heart and so on. So in the cells, the oxygen will get absorbed. The oxygen along with the glucose is going to perform the cellular respiration. Okay, so this is a process that you can see in the cells. So next is the breathing. So breathing, it is an experiment to prove that the presence of carbon dioxide in the exhaled air. We have to show that the exhaled air containing the carbon dioxide. So first, to do this experiment, we have to take the two test tubes. So this is the test tube 1 and this is the test tube 2. Okay, so in the test tube 2, we have to fill with water. In the first test tube, only water, H2O, and in the test tube 2, the lime solution. Okay, so we have to fill the test tubes up to some extent. Okay, the water in the test tube 1 and the lime solution in the test tube 2. So we have to insert a tubes, okay, a small tubes, a rubber or plastic tubes into the solution or into the bottom of the test tube. Now with the help of your mouth, okay, now with the help of your mouth, we have to blow the air. Okay, blow the air, or that is nothing but the exhale air. What will happen? The bubbles will come out of these solutions while blowing. So what will happen? The carbon dioxide, we know that the exhaled air contains carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide plus water is going to show nothing. Okay, it will not show any, no precipitation, no white color ppt, no milky white, no milky white. Okay, while here the carbon dioxide plus lime solution, plus lime solution, ls means lime solution. Instead of writing whole word, we are using the shortcut, that is nothing but ls means lime solution. Yes, the ppt will be seen, white color precipitation will be seen. So yes, ppt. Okay, or yes, milky white precipitation. Okay, so based on this, we can say that this is an important reaction. So based on this, we can say the exhaled gas containing the carbon dioxide. Okay, so exhaled gas containing carbon dioxide, by this experiment we can show that. So here the carbon is going to show only with the lime solution. Okay, so the air is transferred into the lungs and then into the microscopic sacs known as alveoli. So these are the sites of the gas exchange. So when the alveoli is reached, when the alveoli is going to take the air containing the oxygen, this oxygen is taken into the alveoli, and this oxygen will get mixed with the blood. Okay, that is nothing but RBC. And in that condition, so oxygenated blood, oxyhemoglobin will be formed. It will be sent to the cells. Okay, cells of the body. Okay, so during this process, the carbon dioxide is again released into the alveoli. So it will be released into the outside. Okay, outside the body. Okay, the gases will get exchanged between the alveoli and also blood vessels and vice versa. Okay, so let us consider this is the alveoli that is present in the lungs. Okay, this alveoli, what it is going to, there is a exchanging of, there is a coming of the gases or coming of the air, so it containing the oxygen. Okay, this oxygen will be seen. So this oxygen, yes, you can, we will write it a bit larger in the size. Okay, so the oxygen and also carbon dioxide, so the air containing the same things. So the oxygen will be brought into the alveoli, and also the carbon dioxide will be taken out. Okay, so here what will happen, there is a blood capillary, over here. So the blood will come from the body into the blood capillary. So as a result, the carbon dioxide containing blood is going to release the carbon dioxide into the alveoli. So this carbon dioxide will move out. It is going to move out from the alveoli into the lungs, and from the respiratory tract into the outside of the body. Okay, here this oxygen is going to get mixed with the blood. Okay, oxygen plus blood. Okay, so as a result, the oxyhemoglobin is formed. This oxyhemoglobin is containing the oxygen, so it will be sent to the cells of the body. Okay, cells of the body. So this is the important part. Okay, in between, in this process, which organ is going to help to do this process? The heart. Okay, the heart is going to do this, help this exchanging of the gases. Okay, so what is this experiment indicate? The experiment indicates that the carbon dioxide is liberated during the experiment. Just now we have seen this. So this experiment. This experiment is saying that the CO2 is present in the exhaled air. Okay. So next, which gas turns lime water milky? The carbon dioxide is the gas that is going to convert the lime water into the milky white appearances. So which gas do you think that might be present in the greater quantities in the air we breathe out as compared to the air around us? So the carbon dioxide is present in the maximum amount or higher amount. Okay, and this is about it. We can see the small table. Okay, the small table is present to explain about the composition of the gases. Okay, so wait a minute. So this is the table which is going to explain. In the inhaled air, the percentage of the oxygen is 21%. You can see the 21% is there in the inhaled air. So the exhaled air contains 16%. It means the carbon dioxide, the oxygen is reduced. So what is happening here? The oxygen, we can say that the oxygen is absorbed. Oxygen is absorbed by the body. Here the carbon dioxide is 0.03%. So before in the inhaled air, but this carbon dioxide percentage is increasing to 4.4%. It means the carbon dioxide is released by the body. Carbon dioxide is released into the by the body, and here the nitrogen is 78%, and also exhaled air also containing the 78%. It means, so what you can confirm? You can confirm that there is no absorption of the nitrogen gas. Okay, so in the exhaled air, you can see that these are the percentages. So these all are the percentages that you can see. Okay, and the next topic that we are going to discuss is, yeah, one question is left over. Okay, we are also aware of the fact that water vapor deposits on the mirror we breathe out. So what is the reason? For example, if you see during the respiratory tract, so respiratory tracts containing the layer of the water, okay, layer of the moisture, or you can call it the layer of water. Okay, so this air, the air is going to travel in the respiratory tract. So when these gases are moving to the respiratory tract containing the water, these gases are going to take some amount of the water in the form of water vapor. So here the exhaled gas along with water vapor, so coming out through the nostrils, and this water vapor, when it touches the cold body or cold surfaces, what you will see, there is a condensation. So what is condensation? So the water vapor is going to turn into water. Okay, the gas is going to turn into liquid. So that is known as condensation. It means the water vapor is going to turn into water when it is touching the cold mirror. Okay, so this is one of the reason when you blow the air, when you blow the exhaled air onto the surface of the mirror, there you can see a fog will be appeared on mirror, or you can see small layer of the water on mirror. Okay, so next, where does this water vapor is coming from? The in exhaled air, that is nothing but the water layer or the moisture that is present in the respiratory tract, and the air that you exhale is going to bring some amount of the water in the form of water vapor. As a result, you can see the water vapor in the exhaled air. So next, the pathway of air. So the pathway of air means the respiratory tract, complete respiratory tract, that is known as pathway. So the complete respiratory tract that is starting from the nostrils to the alveolus is a moist and warm. Okay, moist means the respiratory tract is completely filled with a layer of the water. Okay, a layer of the water is present in the respiratory tract, and also this respiratory tract not only with water but also it has some amount of temperature. So a little bit some amount of temperature will be there, that is around 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is the reason we are calling it as a warm means little bit increased temperature. Okay, here this is you can see the respiratory tract. So these are the complete respiratory tract. Okay, complete respiratory tract. So this region is complete respiratory tract, and here is the pharynx. So the pharynx is the region for food, region for the food and air. Okay, so again the air is going to enter into the respiratory tract known as trachea. Okay, first, we will discuss about the nostrils. So this region is known as nostrils. So the region is known as nostrils. The nostrils is the entry of the air through the nostrils into the body. So next is the nasal cavity. The region in the after the nostrils is known as nasal cavity. It is covered with moist surfaces. It is nothing but a little bit of water along with the hairs inside. In the nasal cavity, there is a hair, and this region is going to filter the air. So what is the reason for filtering of the air? So that the air contains dust particles plus bacteria or virus, what it may be. These all are the components that is present in the air. So this nasal cavity is going to perfectly filter all these materials. Okay, and not only that, the air is going to become moist by absorbing the water that is present in the nasal cavity. Okay, so next is the pharynx. So this is the pharynx. It is the region, a common passage for the food and air. Okay. So next is the digestive common passage for the respiratory and also digestive system. This region has the epiglottis. Can you see here a small thing? This is the epiglottis. So let us draw the diagram a little bit bigger. So this is the epiglottis. Okay, so here you can see a small flap like structure. This flap like structure is known as epiglottis. So this epiglottis is going to control the movement of the food and air. Okay, so the food, when you are swallowing, what will happen? The epiglottis will close the respiratory tract, and the food will enter into the esophagus. Into the esophagus. In the last chapter also we have discussed about the esophagus. So when you are breathing, when you are breathing, and if you are not eating any food material, what will happen? This flap will open. So when the flap opens, what will happen? Or when the epiglottis opens, what will happen? The air is going to enter into the trachea. Okay, by this way it is going to regulate. So what happens if when this epiglottis is not going to function? So what will happen? So the food may enter into the respiratory tract known as trachea. As a result, you will face some problem that is nothing but choking. Why? Because the food is going to get trapped and it is going to block the airway, okay, or pathway of the air. As a result, you will lungs will not get sufficient amount of the air. So as a result, the person will suffer a lot, and he will cough a lot, and there will be more problem. So this is another reason. So there should be perfect mechanism, that there should be a closing mechanism when the food material is being swallowed. Okay, and the important function is done by the epiglottis. So next is the larynx. So larynx is a stiff box containing the vocal cords. So in this region, right after here, in this region you can see the vocal cords. Okay, so these vocal cords are going to vibrate. So when the air is passing through the vocal cords, what will happen? These vocal cords vibrate. So these vocal cords vibrate and they are going to produce a sound. Okay, the sound may be song, the sound may be speech, okay, the sound may be shouting, okay, or whatever it may be. So all these are the result of the vibration of these vocal cords that is present in the larynx. Okay, it is also known as voice box. Okay, so this box is stiff. And next is trachea, a pipe. It is also known as a wind pipe. Why? Because it is going to carry the air. So it is not a wind pipe, just it is a tube which is carrying the air. Okay, so sometimes you can call this a windpipe also. Okay, a pipe or tube like structure that enters into the lungs. So let us consider. So this is the pharynx. Okay, right after the pharynx. Okay, right after the pharynx. So here you will see the epiglottis. Okay, epiglottis is present over here, and right after it, what you will see? This is a trachea. Okay, this is a trachea. This is the trachea, and this trachea is going to divide into two separate branches. Okay, so this is known as bronchi. Okay, this is known as, or you can call it the bronchus. So how many bronchus are there? There are two bronchus. Why? Because trachea is divided into two bronchus. So again, this bronchus is going to divide into bronchioles. Okay, these are going to divide into branches. These branches are known as bronchioles. So these bronchioles will end into a sac-like structures known as alveoli or alveolus. Okay, so this alveolus, where it is present? It is present in the lungs. Okay, understood? So it is present in the lungs. So this is a rough diagram of the lungs. In the textbook you can see clearly. So this is the esophagus. Okay, this is the esophagus. It is going to end into the digestive system. Okay, it is going to enter into the digestive system. Okay, this is the respiratory system, this is digestive system, and complete, this is known as respiratory system. Okay, so the air will enter into the lungs. Okay, and also air enter or air and exits out of the lungs through this respiratory tract. Okay, and I hope this diagram is helpful to you in understanding the concept. And next is the alveolus. So this is the alveolus, a sac like structure that is helping in the exchanging of the gases like oxygen and also carbon dioxide. Okay, and is the alveoli are numerous, so that helps in the exchanging of the gases. And next is the blood. So the blood capillary surrounding the alveolus exchange the gases and transports to the every cell into the body and collects carbon dioxide from the cells. Okay, so they are going to do a lot of important work. That is nothing but this is the, let us consider, this is the bronchioles. So this is known as bronchioles, and these bronchioles will end into a sac like structure known as alveoli. So this alveoli is going to exchange the gases like carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay, so this is the blood capillary. So this is the blood capillary, and this blood capillary containing the blood that is flowing. So the blood will be containing the carbon dioxide. It will be released into the alveolus, and in the alveolus there is oxygen. It will be taken into the blood. Okay, so by this way, before it is deoxygenated blood, and after you will see oxygenated. Okay, so containing the oxygen, here they containing the carbon dioxide. Okay, so blood enter here and the blood exit out of here, so there is a exchanging. So this will be again, they will form a under separate a tubes that is entering into the heart. Okay, enters into the heart, and heart is going to pump this oxygen blood to the body parts. Okay, so in the body parts again we will see the oxygen will be released. Okay, carbon dioxide will be taken by the cells during the cellular respiration. So what will happen? The oxygen is utilized over here, carbon dioxide there. This carbon dioxide will be brought to the heart, and again heart is going to pump to the lungs, into the alveoli, and so on. This process repeats and repeats and so on. Okay, this is a flow chart. Just to remember, nostrils. Okay, enters into the nasal cavity. Here there will be a pharynx, common passage for the food and air. Next, larynx, it containing the stiff box. Okay, it containing the vocal cords responsible for the vibration and also making sounds. Next, the trachea, it is a tube. Okay, a tube or the pipe that carries the air or a wind. Next is the bronchus. Okay, what is the bronchus? The division. Okay, division of trachea is known as bronchus. How many bronchus are there? 2 bronchus, each for each lung. Next, the bronchioles, the divisions, the fine divisions of the bronchus. Next is the alveolus. So these are the sac-like structures responsible for the exchanging of the gases. Next, the blood. Okay, the blood is the main important organ for the transportation of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the body. Okay, so next, the alveoli of the lungs are numerous, and they are about the millions of the alveoli are there, and these alveoli is lined with moisture. Okay, so this alveoli is lined with the moisture. Okay, so if the alveoli is lined with the moisture, there will be a greater rate of the absorption of the gases. Okay, and their surface area is enormous, and they cover the area around 160 square meters, which is equivalent to the tennis court. If you see the tennis court, how much larger it is, the same the surface area is present in your lungs. Okay, so before we move to the next topic, we have to discuss about what is meant by surface area. Okay, let us take this, the cube. Okay, if you see the surface, so this side, and this side, these are the known as surface area. Okay, let us consider. So how much we will discuss with a even more example, clear example. Okay, so let us consider this surface area is 2 centimeters from here to here. Okay, so again 2 centimeters is this side, 2 centimeters this side, 2 centimeters this side, and I will ask you to cut the cube into 2. So as a result, you will show in this way, okay, or you will cut the cube into this way, okay. So now I will ask you to count the area of it. So as a result, this will be the 1 centimeter and this will be the 1 centimeter. Why? Because you have cut into in this direction, okay, in this vertical direction. So 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. So as it is 2 centimeters over here, and here will be the 1 centimeter, and here also how many centimeters? 2 centimeters. Here also the 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters and 1 centimeter. So before here, how many centimeters are there? 2 4 the 8. Okay. So before previously 8 centimeters are there. Okay. So after how many centimeters? 2 2 4 and total 8 centimeters this side, and plus 1 2 3 4 8 plus 4. Okay, how many centimeters are there now? 9 10 11 12 centimeters are there, and here will be the 8 centimeters. So after cutting it, how many increase centimeters? The 4 centimeters has been increased. It means to paint this, how much ml you need? You need 4 ml extra is needed. Again cut the cube in this direction, again the surface area increase, again cut the cube in this direction, again the surface area increases. So if you go on cutting the cube in this way, so what is increasing? The surface area is increasing more and more and more. So this is the same concept is applicable to the lungs. Okay, so if the lungs contain numerous amount of the alveoli, the enormous surface area is increased in the lungs. So what happens if the surface area increases? If the surface area increases, what will happen? If the surface area increases, the rate of absorption of the gases also increases. Okay, if the surface area is decreasing, what will happen? The rate of absorption of the gases also decreases. So we need more amount of the gases, so the surface area has to be increased. When the surface area is increased, when the lungs is divided into numerous alveoli. So this is the most important concept. So the surface area is very, very important in the lungs. Okay, so what will happen if the respiratory tract is not moist? So if the respiratory tract is not moist, dust particles will not get caught in the nasal cavity. Okay, that is the main problem. Next is a no filtration. Okay, if dust particles are not captured in the nasal cavity, so there is no chance of filtration. As a result, these dust particles along with the bacteria, everything will enter into the lungs, causing the failure of the lungs. Okay, next is the increasing temperature of the air is not possible. In the nasal cavity, there is a certain temperature, so the air has to be warmed in the nasal cavity. So if the moisture is if there is no moisture, what will happen? There is no chance of warming of the air. Okay, so and also next is, hence the oxygen is not sufficient for the cellular respiration. So why? Because there is no moisture. If there is no moisture, there is no diffusion of the gases and so on. So next, are both lungs similar in size? No, the lungs are not similar in size. The left lung is little bit slightly smaller, so that the left lung has to provide some space for the heart. Okay, so next, alveoli is so small and uncountable in nature. So why? Because to provide the largest surface area, just now as we discussed over in this case, so they have to be more in number for the larger surface area for the gases exchange. Okay, next the epiglottis. Just now we have seen there is epiglottis. So this epiglottis is going to regulate the movement of the food and air. Okay, so next, the pharynx has the two passages. One passage is to the lungs, another passage is to the stomach. So this passage is for the lungs, and this passage is for the stomach or digestive system. Okay, so this epiglottis, the thing or structure you can see is known as epiglottis. It is a flap-like structure. It is going to control the movement of the food material, or trachea. You can call the trachea as a windpipe also. Why? Because it is going to carry the air. Okay, so this epiglottis allows the entry of air into the trachea when the food is not consumed. So when the food is not consumed, this epiglottis in open condition. When this epiglottis will closes when you are swallowing the food material. Okay, so this is one of the reason we are not advised to talk. When you are talking, what will happen? What you will see, there is a control or coordination between brain and epiglottis. Brain and epiglottis will be disrupted. If there is a disruption of the coordination between the brain and epiglottis, so the food, the improper closing of the epiglottis will be seen. As a result, the food enters into trachea. Okay, if the food enters into trachea, what will happen? There will be a choking or the blockage of the blockage of the trachea will be seen. As a result, the person suffer a lot. Okay, this activity two, this activity one. In this activity one, we have to show that. So there will be a stopping of the breathing. The breathing is stopped in the while you are swallowing. So for that what you have to say, what you have to do, take a small fruit, a small piece of the fruit, chew in the mouth, okay, masticate it and also swallow. Okay, swallow. Before that experiment, just to keep your palm 1 inch before your nose, you can see there is a exchanging of the, there is a breathing. So when you are swallowing the food material, there is a stopping of the breathing. Okay, so you can observe it. So why? Because when you are swallowing, this epiglottis has to be closed. If the epiglottis is closed, there is no movement of the air, so that the food directly enters into the esophagus. So this is the reason why the breathing will be stopped while you are eating the food material. If you want to observe while you are eating the lunch or while you are eating the tiffin and so on. Okay, next, what did you notice? What happens to your breathing as you try to swallow? So you can notice that the stopping of the breathing can be seen while swallowing the food material. Okay, so that it is going to prevent the entry of the food material into the trachea. If the food material enters into the trachea, there will be a problem. Okay, so there is a mechanism, such kind of mechanism is going to help you. Okay, next question is, what is helping you to swallow without deflecting the windpipe? So that is only the important organ known as epiglottis. It is going to prevent entry of the food material while you are swallowing into the trachea. So hence you can call it as the epiglottis is preventing the entry of the food materials into the trachea or the windpipe. Okay, next, the mechanism of the respiration in human beings. So the breathing is a process of inhaling and exhaling gases. We know that. So next is the lungs are involved in the breathing, and chest slightly increases during the inhalation and also reverse back. So in the lungs, when you are inhaling, what will happen? So lungs will get larger so that the air is going to enter into it, and when you are exhaling gases, the lungs will come to their normal position. So lungs are spongy in nature. Why? Because the lungs containing the alveoli. So this alveoli contains the air. Whenever there is air in the any organ, that organ looks like spongy and smooth. Okay, and left lung is smaller. Just now we have discussed about it, to provide space for the heart. They are protected by the two membranes known as pleura. Okay, so pleura are known as membranes. There are two membranes. This pleura is filled with a fluid. This fluid is helpful in the taking air, or you can call it as a breathing process. So in this process, the lungs are going to expand so that the lungs can take air. Okay, here you can see the diaphragm. So right after the lungs, so these are the lungs, right and left lung. So right after the lungs, so what you can see, there is a dome-shaped organ. This dome-shaped organ is known as diaphragm. So this diaphragm may attain a dome shape or flat shape based upon the contraction and relaxation. Okay, so this dome shape is going to enter into the chest cavity. What is meant by chest cavity? Chest cavity is nothing but the space in the chest is known as chest cavity. Okay, so when you can see the dome shape structure, so when you are inhaling, the diaphragm is going to move down. Okay, move down. As a result, there is a contraction. So inhalation is going to cause the contraction. When there is a contraction, as a result, what will happen? The dome shape will come down. Okay, so next, exhalation. When you are exhaling, it means when you are releasing the air into the atmosphere, the diaphragm is going to attain a dome shape. It is going to enter the dome shape. Diaphragm is going to enter into the chest cavity. As a result, size size of the lungs is going to decrease. The size of the lungs is going to decrease when the diaphragm is attaining the dome shape. Okay, that is known as relaxation. When the relaxation of the diaphragm is seen, it attains dome shape, When it attains dome shape, the size or the volume of the lungs decreases. As a result, it is known as exhalation. Okay, when there is a contraction of the diaphragm, it is going to attain a flat shape. As a result, the size of the lungs is going to increase. When the size of the lungs is going to increase, what will happen? The air enter in, it is known as inhalation. Okay, it is known as inhalation process. Okay, so the movement of the lungs are coordinated according to the need. So while you are doing the exercise, what will happen? You need more respiration or more breathing. As a result, the breathing will be faster. When you are taking rest, the breathing will be slower. Depending upon the condition, the rate of the respiration or breathing will be different. Okay, so the oxygen is required to replace the carbon dioxide in the body. So when the nerves leading to the brain, the respiratory muscles are cut and respiratory movements are going to disrupt. As a result, we can say that the nerves are going to play a major role coming from the brain, that is helping in the breathing. Okay. So next is the what is the role of diaphragm and ribs and respiration. It means the diaphragm is the dome-shaped organ. Along with the diaphragm, the ribs also there. These ribs and also diaphragm is going to help in the exchanging of the gases, or you can call it as a breathing process. So these diaphragm and the ribs are going to help in the breathing process. And in females, these ribs are going to play a major role in the respiration or in the breathing. Okay, so in males or females, diaphragm is important in breathing, and but in females, the ribs are important in the breathing process. Okay. So next question is, what can be concluded from this? You can conclude from this, the nerves which is coming from the brain controls the respiratory movement. Okay. Next, what happens during the process of the breathing? During the process of the breathing, the movements are well coordinated to supply the oxygen and remove of the carbon dioxide. Okay. So which gas needed to be removed from our body during the exhalation process? We can say the carbon dioxide needed to be removed from the body during the exhalation process. So why? Because this carbon dioxide is not sufficient, not useful for the body. It is a waste material for the body head, hence it has to be removed from the body. Okay, next, where does the extra amount of the gas coming from? We know that the extra gas is coming from the carbon dioxide. Why? Because here the carbon dioxide is a waste product. It is released from the cells during the cellular respiration, so it has to be eliminated out. Okay, so next is the gas exchange, that is alveolar to the capillary. Okay, so in this process,